Okay, I forgot to watch the clock. Not used to streaming on Mondays. Not used to being here in a hotel room trying to stream. And I was looking at messages and stuff about the convention, trying to reply to some of those, and look up and the screen says it's go time or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, I'm late to my own stream. And I was worried that, streaming on Monday and not knowing if I'd get to it or not, that no one would be here. But I already see that Progenital. I say that wrong every time. I think it just doesn't sound right to me coming up, rolling across my tongue. Progenital Aquarist and Skull Aquatics are both here. So, welcome in, guys, Don and Curtis. I didn't, I've missed the last 2 Sundays of streaming for family stuff and for, no, it wasn't the last 2. It was just, yeah, it was. I don't remember. I think it, yeah, the last 2 Sundays I've missed for family and well, I was here last night doing stuff. But I thought, well, I've got some downtime right now. Everybody's kind of went home for the evening for the prep stuff that we've been working on, and going to be back early in the morning. So I thought I'll go live, and I knew it was coming up, so I scheduled it ahead of time, thinking some people might see it. But I don't really know what to do here or whatever. If y'all got questions, I don't know if going on a walkabout would be a thing. I mean, the rooms are, I think all the rooms are kind of locked up. But we can talk about stuff also. June is here. I don't know where Gene came from. Just sorry about that. Welcome in. But getting my little totes set up the way that I do for conventions, and I thought I had brought a ton of those things, so I would have way more than I would need to put out. But apparently I only brought 6, and I've got 4 on top and 1 down on the bottom prepping. I don't know if you'd say I've already bought something, but I've got a promise to buy, I guess. So it's set up ready for that. And there's Cheryl. June says she answers to all names. Well, I do a little joke when, I jump into a stream or whatever, and they call me by Frank or Pete or whatever, and then ask if my name's John, and I say, well, my name's John unless John owes you money, then I don't know John. But yeah, I answered about anything. If I realize you're talking to me, I'm whoever. But the plan for me for this evening is to work on getting all those set up right, labeled, so that I remember what I brought, and kind of what I'm going to price them at, make me up a little list of stuff, because at the conventions, if you've been to these, you hang a list outside your door of what you've got to offer, and as people walk by, they look at the list and check it out. And I was debating on whether to put a listing on the bulletin board, because in some hotels, all the rooms are like in a big loop, so people just walk the loop and get to see everything. This one I don't think is really laid out that way. I'm in one wing. There's rooms in another wing. The lobby's in the middle, and the convention center, and stuff off to the other side. and I've already like kind of got lost earlier, um, just wandering around. So I might put something on the bulletin board. Not like I really brought anything cool or anything to sell, just some really really common stuff. Um, but I figured just because convicts are common to me, somebody might be here that's been looking for convicts for the last 6 years and can't find them. So I brought some convicts. Let's see. June says never been to a convention. Sounds fun. They are fun. As I was walking, trying to figure out where I was through the hotel earlier, um, everybody had left out, and I was trying to figure out how to get back to my room. Really, and there were some kids that are with their parents, and they're staying here. I don't know if they're leaving today or tomorrow or going to stay the whole week or whatever. But they were looking at the tanks that were set up, like, this is so confusing. There's no fish in the tanks. And so it was already getting excitement, a fish tank in the hallway, even with no fish in it. So I told them that there was a convention later in the week. And hopefully they'll be around and they'll come back and see what we got going on. Dawn says, back when I was married, my wife called me everything but my name. Yeah. And back when I was married, mine did that, except for when she needed to call me, wouldn't call me. The old saying, call me whatever you want as long as you call me, don't call me late for dinner or whatever. Yeah, well, Fish Fam links here. But yeah, I didn't like, I've been to all these swap meets early this year and sold about everything I had extra. So I didn't really have much to bring. And I just brought some like common platies and uh, some bristle nose, some chocolate bristle nose, and the albino ones I've got have become very elusive. Like they're in there until I grab the net, and then they go into an interdimensional portal or something. But I brought some regular chocolate ones. I brought some young super reds and some Limia Perugiers. They are like starting to get to where they're overrunning my fish room, so I brought a scoop or two of those to see what they might be of some interest. And I've debated about going back to the house tonight, like late tonight, and seeing if I can uh, grab some other stuff. I don't know what I would grab because the rarer stuff that I would like to bring are all way too small to bring up here. Or the stuff like some of the stuff that I had planned on bringing decided it was time to breed. So now they're like doing their thing, and I don't want to mess with that. Let them breed and go with that. Clicks images, welcome in. I'm glad you can make the stream, Carl. You're not going to be making it to the convention. I really, was hoping you would get to. It's going to be a good time. I was here till I guess 9:30 last night doing stuff, and then got up about 8 or 8:30 going at it again. Which I was here till 9:30, but then I was emailing and messaging people about the event, trying to organize some stuff until about midnight last night. Let's see. Dawn says, I picked up some juvenile albino bristlenose at a meet 2 weeks ago. They're complete goofballs. Yeah, I got one tank of bristlenose that the females always disappear. Like I've got somebody that's wanting a female of a certain size and it would have to come out of that tank. And they're all like up on the front glass and everything like that until I open the lid and they scatter and you never see, I can't find them. And I need to, like, my albinos are coming from a mix between a chocolate and albino. And I'm wanting to separate out my albinos and my chocolates so that I for sure will get albinos out of the albinos or a higher percentage, and then the chocolates out of the chocolates. But for one, I haven't done it yet, and I don't know which females are doing the breeding right now. And being that the females are all disappearing and the albinos are disappearing. I mean, they're still in the tank. They show up when I'm not trying to catch them. June says, I lost my Snow Whites to ick. Maybe I'll get some more. Already looking for more. Yeah, I know that feeling. I hadn't had ick in forever. And then I did a video about ick and my lost all my 181s to ick. And then just maybe a week or two ago, my Beta Rubra tank out of the blue gets ick. And it looks like, I lost the majority of those, but I was able to save 3 or 4, and it looks like they're all female. So if they were live bears, I would have hope there that I might get fry from them, but not with Beta Rubras. You definitely need a male longer than you need the female in the Beta Rubras to have fry. So I might be looking for a male Beta Rubra or moving on from those. I haven't decided yet. All right. Skull might have what June's looking for. And June says it just showed up with nothing new was added to the tank. Yeah, that's what happened in both my cases. And it wasn't a case of like cross contamination or something like that because they were in 2 different buildings. My 181s were in the house, and the Beta Rubras were in the fish building. And nothing else in the fish building so far, knock on wood, whatever, has had the problem with ick. Just those, and I kept, when I noticed it, they went complete quarantine on that tank. Nothing touched that tank's water that got anywhere near any other tank, and it cleared up. But I did lose a large number of the Beta Rubras in there. But with the ick being able to go dormant like that, just the stress can cause it. And I could have had, say, in the Beta Rubra tank, it could be just I don't know, maybe a couple males started fussing with each other or something and got everybody stressed out. And once one of them gets it, it stresses the other ones out. And I'm not sure with the 181s. I did move them to that tank shortly before that, and changed my room temperature. So it's possible that they got a little cooler than what they were used to and just went into a stress mode. Yeah, June says fish must just carry it. And that is, there's a debate on the whole ick thing of where it comes from, like how the fish get it and where it comes from and all that kind of stuff. and my school of thought, what I follow, is that it is on all fish, but when the fish is healthy and not stressed, the slime coat prevents it from going full life cycle. So you never see it. It kind of just stays, kind of like with the herpes virus in humans, that it stays dormant in the system of the fish until the fish becomes stressed, and then it expands and reproduces stuff like fever blisters and stuff. June says she thinks stress did bring it out. Yeah, and there have been studies that the cortisol that the fish release when they are stressed actually stimulates the ick and encourages its growth. So it makes sense to me. Uncle Smiley's here. Welcome in. June says raising the temperature saved half the fish. Yeah, that's a key thing. The ick is actually like, we call it a tropical virus because in a tropical fish, but it's actually more temperate. That the warmer that it gets, the less that it can do. So it'll speed up its metabolism stuff up to about 86, and then at 86, it can't reproduce anymore. And then about 90, it actually begins to rupture and can't survive. So you want to raise the temperature to speed up its metabolism so that you can actually treat it, and it's most vulnerable in its free swimming state, that you can actually get rid of it when it's at that. Oh, so June raised it to 86. So yeah, that's, if you can get your tank to that without harming the fish, that's a good way to go. It ends up being we'll say a balance, that if your fish isn't used to that warm temperatures and they're already stressed out and dealing with the issue of ick and stuff, raising the temperature way up just can stress them out even more and cause more issues. So sometimes I can get them up that high, but I don't want to overdo that. Yeah. Skull says Gravelvac 2. Their eggs will hatch later unless you get them out of there. Yeah, and like I'd read studies and stuff that, or explanations of how the cycle of the ick life cycle worked, and how the eggs all go down in the substrate and they hatch and all that kind of stuff. And so the question came to my mind was, if you did a bare bottom tank that doesn't have substrate, can you get ick? And I ran some experiments and discovered, yes, it doesn't have to have substrate to do that. And eggs will hatch and you can still get ick even without substrate. The good thing is, like, if you can get the ick population down low enough and let the fish recover, a healthy fish can fight it off until they get stressed out again or whatever and go back into the whole cycle. I don't think you ever get rid of ick. If you have a fish in your tank, like I said, all fish carry it in their systems. Let's see. Don says the old diatom filter was great for getting rid of their eggs. The good old days. Yeah, it seems like a lot of the technology and stuff that we used to use worked good. A lot of the thought processes that we did worked really good, and manufacturers or stores pushing new products and stuff have gotten a lot of hobbyists away from the old ways. And there's a few that are working to push to get back to those old ways. Like the hang-on canister filters, the diatom filters, the box filters, that type of stuff. Some of the stuff like the old vertical hang on the rim heaters, we can let that go to the past, But some of the other technologies, I've seen some companies coming out with new designs of under gravel filters, and while they aren't the most efficient methods for under gravel filters to work, that they miss some of the basics of how an under gravel filter works. I like seeing that it's being brought back up and it's getting back out there into the new hobbyist as an option. Because I don't think that one type of system, one type of technology, filter or whatever, is good for all situations. June says lost a bare bottom tank of Oscar stick. It kept coming back. Yeah. And it just, that whole scenario of saying it has to go into the substrate and stuff, it just got me thinking, if it has to go on the substrate, if you don't have substrate, would it even happen? But I tested it and figured out, yeah, you can get it even without substrate. Yeah, I like underground filters for the most part. I've used them for years. I've bought them at auctions and stuff, like get them for like a $1 at an auction or something like that, because everybody's like, "Oh, old school underground filter. Who wants that?" And I'll bid $1 on it. They're like, "Okay, boomer, take it." I'm like, a filtration system for your aquarium for $1. So I've got 4 or 5 tanks with them in it now. And I've got some other ideas in my mind that I'm thinking I may disable those for a different type of project I'm looking at. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'll do with that. Don says, "Who remembers the charcoal filters they tried to sell us to put on the under gravel filter outputs? What a stupid marketing idea that was." Yeah, I can see the theory behind it and some benefit. I don't run charcoal on any of my my filters or any of my tanks. I know there's benefit to it, but I know, or in my opinion, there is some negatives that it can cause also. And for general purpose, the negatives outweigh the positives for what I do. There's Nancy B in Tennessee. Welcome in. Asking, what do I have in the buckets? They're getting ready for things I plan to pick up. I've lied to myself already and said I wasn't going to buy anything. But as I mentioned earlier, I've already promised to buy some stuff. So I guess I've already broken that or proven that lie out. But I did just bring some generic, basic, convicts and Lemmy Perugiers and platies and common bristle nose. I didn't have a whole lot that was ready to move out that was of size to, it's like I had some black chin livebearers, but they were tiny. Didn't want to mess with those. Didn't want to chase the shell dwellers around. Um, Different stuff that I could have gotten, but it wasn't worth the effort. But I debated, am I going to go back tonight, run back to the house and grab some more stuff? More or less, it would set up for stuff to. I mean, they've got fish on them now, but set up for if I do buy stuff, even though I've told myself I'm not buying stuff. June connected her underground filters to canister, worked great. Yeah, and I've seen people do that. I've seen people put like an internal filter on the uplifts of the underground filter. My brain just totally went blank. And I would say it would definitely work good. To get any benefit out of the undergravel, you'd have to have the flow coming up your uplifts or down your uplifts, depending on which way you're running it, in equal matter. But it always seemed more complicated to me than just kind of to me, the point of an underground filter was it's air driven, like sponge filters. People putting power heads and stuff on their sponge filters, to me, defeats the whole purpose of a sponge filter. It's an air filter, and that's just my personal opinion. Carl's still running a few as well. I'm sure, Carl, you're probably running a little of everything. I'd say you got I'm sure you got more tanks than I do. And Curtis says some fish have only bred for him in undergrowth filters with lots of plants. I was trying to think if I've had any only breed in undergravel filters or with undergrowth filters. I had a crayfish destroy an undergrowth filter. That's a total other story. But I can't think of any that have only bred with undergrowth filters specifically. Well, I hate to hear that you can't make it up, Carl. I understand a lot going on and stuff. But we will miss you. It's going to be a good event. I'm going to try to video as much as I can, try to throw some live streams up if I can get able to, but definitely video as much as I can and try to throw some videos out afterwards. June's going to work on getting plants in her tanks. That'll take some time. Plants with the Oscars. That's if they're going with the Oscars, I'm sure you got more experience than what I do with it, but I think you would have to like train the Oscars to not dig them up or have some sort of system. Carl says buy extra and bring it to the club. I'm sure he's talking to Nancy, since I've already said I'm not buying anything. And I'm going to continue to lie to myself every dollar that I spend that I'm not buying anymore. And Scotty's here. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good evening. Catching up from the beginning, double time. I'll be streaming in 30 minutes if anybody wants to come over when you're done. I've already been going 30 minutes. Wow. Time flies. Greg Guppy guy's here. Welcome. Remembers the bubbler with the polyfill and the charcoal? I've got a box filter that's designed that way, that you pack full of polyfill and charcoal and stuff. I'm not currently using it, but I like that. Well, I do have another box filter that I've DIY'd and made. but I've not put polyfill and charcoal and stuff in it. Let's see. Carl loves the box filters. June says her mom used those old filters in her tanks. A beautiful fish. The only benefit was when you had to clean the undergrowth filters. Yeah, cleaning the undergrowth filters, that's one of the things that isn't taught to people that get undergrowth filters, that there's a specific way to clean an undergrowth filter to get the most efficiency out of it and make it last the longest. And most people aren't aware of that, and they don't do it that way, so they end up with some issues. Yeah, the power heads on the undergrowth filters was a thing that was really popular, and it I mean, I know the benefit of it, of you get more water flow, which means you can increase your oxygenation and stack more bacteria into the media. But me personally, I never was a fan of that because I overthought it, I guess. If your power heads weren't exactly the same power, if one was just slightly more powerful than the other, it had the ability to pull down from one tube and up the other tube and bypass your media altogether. Oh, the Oscars are babies with the plants. Okay, well that's better. Yeah, I was picturing like adult Oscars, and you're putting little uh, cryptocorn or whatever in there, and just crossing your fingers, hoping for the Oscars not to uproot it. But yeah, the baby Oscars would do better. And Nancy says she's going to make a point to check uh, to see how many fish I haven't bought. I'm really going to be trying really hard not to buy fish. I've made a commitment to myself uh, to be good, but I have a feeling I'll break that pretty quickly. Putting peat balls into the box filters to lower the pH. That's an awesome idea. I've got a couple tanks I need to lower the pH, and or that I would like to lower the pH, and that that's a good idea, because I was just thinking of doing the old pantyhose method and draping it in the back, but the box filters would actually work better, I believe. Pete, June's asking about peat to reduce pH. Yeah, I know some of the larger importers and distributors and stuff. They actually take like the bales of peat that you use in gardening, and they kind of make a giant tea bag out of it and put it in the root trash cans of water, and make a tea of a high tannin solution to put in with their imported saltwater fish. June's not had luck with red plants with Oscars. Interesting. Red plants, but like green plants do okay. Carl says Keith's out catching tadpoles for the Oscars now. And last year, the year before, I was all about catching tadpoles to feed to the fish and stuff like that. And then again, me overthinking that I'm not good at identifying what type of tadpoles the tadpole in the bucket is. And I know that we have toads around this area as well. And toads, their tadpoles are toxic and can kill fish. So I kind of just slacked off from that altogether. And odds are the tadpoles in the bucket were for tree frogs, because that's typically what always hatches out and go. But just my brain started overthinking. It's like, well, what if these are tadpoles for toads? And I take them in there, and one little tadpole from a toad gets eaten by that fish, and now this fish that I'm trying to give this great live food to ends up that I've poisoned it. So my brain got to me and overthought stuff. Yeah, that's what those tadpoles. Oh, bump the tripod. These that's what these tadpoles ended up being, was tree frogs. I just let my brain get to me, and overthink talk me out of it. While I'm thinking about it, Curtis, I know we were talking in another stream about potential places to do like a sit down stream here at the hotel. Um, I may have found an area. I don't know uh, if it'll work, but it's kind of off to itself. Um, it's an open area, not in the pool, but connected to the pool area, but it's kind of walled off. So when you get here, we can look at it and see if you think that would work. And you have to like go down the hall and through another little door to get to it. So I don't think that there will be a ton of people just wandering through that area. Nancy's raising a tree frog army to help eat bugs. I've thought about like um and I've thought about like the little like anoles and stuff that are in Florida, and thought, too bad we don't have something like that here that we could train to only be in like the certain area around, say around the house, to go out and eat all the bugs out of the yard, and not like invade everywhere else. But I know that wouldn't work, and we do have lizards here, but they don't work the same way and stuff. Nancy B says, "I'm not sure YouTube is ready for streaming from the pool." No, and that's, I checked when I went in this area. I checked, and it looks like it used to be like a gaming room or something like that, and it's like you have the pool, and then the room next to it doesn't have anything in it really. Or it might have been like a basketball area or something, but it's really just a room with nothing in it that looks like it should have had a door on the other end to lead to the pool, but the door is gone. So it's just like an opening leading into the pool area. But all the other directions is walls. But again, being in that area, I'm not sure, as far as outlets and and this and that, what would be needed, the lighting and all that. The hotel room is pretty dark. I don't know if y'all can tell. I've turned this lamp. It had this lamp here behind me. I turned it off because it was giving like a backlight, and then the lamp on the bedside table in front of me is the lights in here. So if I'd known that, I would have brought more lighting. But you can make me out. You can see me. So Curtis is trying to convince Nancy she wants to see Skipper do a belly flop. Yeah, I know they're having the late night pool party Friday night, I believe it is, the midnight pool party. I'm definitely not planning on videoing that because I have a bad feeling about that, how it's going to go. It's after what used to be called the Babes Auction. It's after that, and after that, everybody's usually got quite a bit of alcohol in them and doing things that they wouldn't normally do. And now we're putting people in bathing suits and at a pool, and yeah, it might not be the most YouTube friendly pool party. And Scotty says, when is the party at Nancy from Tennessee's? I'm going to miss it, but I hope y'all have a good time. I'm not sure which party, the party at Nancy's maybe. I'm not sure which what we're talking about there. Curtis says he's staying away from it. I didn't say I was staying away from the midnight pool party. I'm just saying I'm not taking a camera to it. I might poke my head in and check it out, see what's going on, and odds are I'll be hopefully hanging out with some of you all, around the hotel, out in the parking lot, wherever. Depends on where Skipper gets us kicked out of, and hanging out and talking. Oh, the house party at Nancy's after collecting. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. And there's Cinnamon. Welcome in. Nancy's a surprise to everybody. Skipper kicked out again. Yeah. If you haven't heard the story, last time the convention was in Kentucky, it was the Triple Crown. It was in Louisville, and we were all hanging out in the lobby area. And long story short, they told us we couldn't hang out in the lobby area anymore, and it was kind of because of Skipper. So that's why if you see pictures from the Triple Crown, we're all hanging out outside around a fire pit. That's why we were outside as our designated hangout spot, because we weren't allowed to be in the lobby anymore. Nancy, did you all come up with locations to go collecting? Did folks agree on some spots to go? I know there was discussion about down your direction, and then I know I sent somebody, but I don't remember who, some locations around this area. And I know there was a few that was talking about going to someone else's spot to go collecting. Skull says I have another skipper story for later. Have I told you the story? Oh, we can't do this the pick on skipper stream, but I'm sure I've told you a story about the guy with the emergency brake. That's a good one. I give him a hard time every time I see him about that one. Looking down through the chat here. I see folks saying hi to each other. And Cinnamon says hi to Vinosky. I think I missed Vinosky because I remember saying welcome in. But if I've missed anybody in the chat, welcome. Thank you for being here. I really, I thought about when I was getting this stream together earlier, thought about taking a walk through and say, well, this is here where this is where this is going to be, and through this door is where this is going to be. But I kind of think that would be one confusing because where I would be coming from and where you'd be coming from would be different, whether you're coming from the lobby or your room or whatever. So it would make you feel backwards. And then since all the rooms are kind of locked up right now and you can't really see in to see what the room looks like, it's, I can just as well show you this wall back here and say, behind this wall is where the fish show is going to be. So maybe I'll get some opportunity to stream tomorrow when the rooms are open or something. At least get it whenever the convention starts. Okay, so Nancy says she talked to Gabe earlier about one spot, hoping it doesn't get rained out. I haven't even looked at the weather. I know that we got rain earlier today, and Lexington posted that some of the roads were flooded, but I haven't seen it with me driving up and down. We had tornado warnings last night, but they didn't turn into anything. Richard Reynolds is here. My tongue has stopped working, apparently. Welcome, Richard. I'm not sure which spot Gabe checked out. I'll talk to him earlier today. I'll see which. I'll try to reach out to him, see which one he checked out, and then try to drop you all a couple suggestions that I have of places around here. There's actually a creek a couple streets over. I haven't been there, but the Google Maps, Google Earth thing, the view of it, it looks like it would be okay. It's same creek that kind of runs through the area that the NANFA guy for Kentucky said in a different park was a really good spot to check out. But I haven't really been to any of the spots in Lexington itself, but neighboring towns I've been to. We went to one, northern Madison County, which is the next county south here, back the first weekend in June, and caught darters and shiners, and we've been there before and caught small bass and different sunfish and catfish and stuff. %50 rain all weekend. Oh, that's crazy. Well, the weather here, Tennessee weather and Kentucky weather's kind of the same either way, that, they'll be given 50% rain today and then tomorrow. Oh, I'm checking my app right now. Yeah, my app's saying Thursdays 45%, Fridays 85%, Saturdays 90%, and Sundays 40. So let's hope that it's like a 90% for 2 a.m. and then clear the rest of the day. And weather's a crazy thing. That's why I don't look at it half the time, because they'll say it's going to rain today and it doesn't, so I don't mow, and then plan on mowing tomorrow because it's supposed to be sunny with 2% chance of rain, and it rains all day long. So I just kind of, when I'm outside, look at the clouds. If it looks dark, okay, it's going to rain. If it doesn't, okay, it's not raining right now. Richard Reynolds says Curtis already have both seine nets packed. Seine nets are the way to go. I've talked to my local club here, and I haven't officially done the talk them into it, but I've talked to individual officers about the need for our club to purchase at least one seine net for our collecting events. Derek was planning on it. Yeah, I forgot about that. Derek did say he would probably be coming up. He's been collecting quite a few areas in Kentucky, so he'd be a good one to ask too. Skull's been catching plecos for the last hour. They're fun, aren't they? Oh, yeah, that's why I only brought the plecos that I brought, because I hate catching plecos. I don't hate them as much as catching shell dwellers, but I hate catching plecos because I'll have them in the net. They'll be hanging on the glass. I'll be pulling them up the net, and I get to right to the top, and they will do a little flip and go flipping off back into the tank. Or I get them in the net and get them out of the tank, and they'll do the little spike thing where they stick all their spikes out of the net. Or they all go hide. Carl's telling Nancy that their club should get net also. Yeah, we bought like the dip nets before, and they're okay sometimes. The ones that we actually got are more they're like the rounded ones, which the flat bottom dip nets are so much better. And we haven't bought anything in years for our collecting as far as like nets and stuff. So I was talking to him this last time about getting getting actual like the flat bottom dip nets, getting some seines, getting more targeted stuff for what we would use. Yeah, the Jonas dip net was the one that we were actually talking about. Reading the comment about Carl should talk to Sarah and stuff like that. And it's if Nancy says even if she's the only one that goes on the collecting trips, and it seems that our collecting trip up here was lower attended than what we had planned. Everybody said they were going to be there, and there was a good handful of people there, but a lot more people had said they were coming. And I guess it's just, the way the wind blows, if people are really into it that specific day, if they actually go. But we're looking at doing some more marketing and stuff for the for our native collecting. Scotty's headed out. Thanks for being here, Scotty. We just got a few more minutes here, and we'll head over there. And y'all that are coming up here, Hurry up. I'm looking forward to hanging out with everybody. Skull, Curtis, you would be really good as the guy that scares the fish into the net. That's usually my job too. Just get back there and make a commotion. Um, and every now and then I fall face first into the creek. Nancy B said this year's collecting day was her, Sarah, and two of her killifish friends. Yeah, and I can see that with your all situation, especially that you, for your collecting, you have to drive to a whole other state, just because of the way that Tennessee's set up. So I can see that, people not wanting to take that trip, but it I think it could be built that, you know, there's more excitement there and then more to it than just going and collecting fish and playing in a creek, make it, and that's, talking for my club, that what we're thinking of, make it as it's a social interaction thing, that even if you're not into native fish and you're not into getting in the water, we're going to make it an event for the whole club to come hang out and socialize with each other. And I hate that our joint event that the Lexington Club and the Nashville Club were trying to do together the last two times, kept getting knocked out by the rain or them opening the dam to let water out of the lake. I see Skull says he'll be here Wednesday. And Richard will be here Wednesday. I guess a lot of people show up Wednesday and Thursday, which is expected. That's kind of what we advertised for. I know we got a lot of work to do tomorrow. That's why they took today and cut it short for the prep stuff. But tomorrow, bright and early, they're, got a team from Louisville and a team from, well, I say Lexington, but the Lexington Club is from all over Kentucky. Going to show up early in the morning to start knocking stuff out. I know that there's some people already showing up tonight from Texas to help with some of the organizational stuff. So Chris Aquazone, welcome in. Chris, you're coming to the convention. You'll be here tomorrow afternoon. All right, well, look me up. I'm here tomorrow afternoon if you want to help with getting some of the convention stuff together and stuff, get the early behind the scenes help or whatever. I'm sure we'll still be here setting up vendor spots and packing bags and whatever at that point we're doing. Track us down and we'll have a good time of it. But so that we're not late to Scotty's stream, it looks like we've just got a minute or so before he's going to kick off, and my stream should be done. I'll go ahead and sign off, and thank you all for joining me on this little Monday edition of live from the hotel of the Bluegrass Bash. And I'll see you in a few minutes over at Scotty's stream, or if you're not there and are coming to the bash, those names are really close. I'll see you later this week. Thanks, everybody.